Welcome to Between the Posts. Round 10 is in the books. I'm your host, Tommy Javor. For the second time this year, joined by Division 6 expert Jad Ghosn. Welcome, mate.
Yes, happy to be on the show again and looking forward to a really big show.
I love having you on the show because Division 6 is the most talked about division on the internet and the forums and on social media. There's always plenty happening on Division 6. So looking forward to your deep dive, mate. But you're a man of many talents. You're out at games all the time. Where were you yesterday? Which Division 1 game?
At Teacher Gully versus Sacred Heart. So yeah, very good effort there from Sacred Heart to get the victory away from home at Potaringa. Always a difficult place to go. Yep. And a very professional outfit, and we'll hear more about it later in the wrap. But 6 goals in the second quarter really summed up that match to nothing to Teacher Gully and pushed away like they do all the time to Sacred Heart.
Question without notice, dangerous one from me. It's a nice sample size, 10 rounds. 8-2 Sacred Heart. Can they make the grand final?
Yeah, I can see them making the grand final. You know, they're really pushing hard to get to that second spot on the ladder, even first. Who knows if we're going to slip up a little bit, but those top 2 spots, and definitely goes a long way to making the finals with a few home games. Yes, beautifully done. Of course, mate, we've got lots of great stuff on the show this week. Thanks to our great sponsors, of course, but we've got the Division 1 men's wrap, the Division 1 women's wrap, the Farmers Leap Coach of the Week. Yes, as well as my Div 6 wrap, and as well goals and marks of the week, some of the best highlights from the weekend, and what caught our eye.
We've got all that and much, much more on this week's edition of Between the Posts. Division 1 wrap time, round 10 is in the books. Another exciting round with some very interesting results, starting with our stream team who visited Park 9 for the Intercol Classic. All the build-ups you'd ever want, but it was PAC, far too good. 14-12-96, Spock 8-7-55. It was playing coach Craig Pitt, who was the star of the day, and we're going to have a look at some of his exploits. He kicked 4 goals, Clark joined in for 3, whilst the Spock HBK Michaels with 5 of his own. Big raps from commentator Adam Jeffries talking about how his ground level work is good, he's very crafty, and in a losing team he was clearly a standout, so well done to Nicky Michaels. Look, just going to look straight away at the commentators' notes. Johnny Vrodos apparently was sick, and without the Adonis' impact it certainly hurt Spock, but Spock midfield they had their colours lowered quite significantly on this day. Despite PAC not having Hayden Jolly, Pitt, Clark and others were able to just do what they want. And the way you could tell this is the amount of goals the midfield scored. They scored the majority of the goals, and you've got 2 of the best forwards that we've seen in Division 1, Juice and T-Bone, which is of course Jaden Davis and Tyson Brazel. Brazel kicked a couple late in the game, and Davis was able to push right up as the midfielders worked through and probably weren't chased hard enough. And the lead was 21, 36, 33 and 41, PAC having full control all day. Some of the better players that didn't quite get in the votes for PAC, Macaulay, Jordan Neal and Garrels, whilst for Spock, Duchesere certainly gave his all, and it wouldn't be a Spock game without looking at best players, and you know, he's just going to be there. Jordan Lockwood, what a great game, well done my friend. Okay, Mosey Voucher, best team man from PAC, well done to the smiling Benny Siebels. The Neomorph Mouthguard player of the day was Percolator version 2, Archie Perks from the Reds, good job, and you'd be well aware that all the prizes were won by Craig Pitt. Getting into the votes now, and no surprises, Nick Michaels earned a vote for his great effort, 5 out of 8 goals in a losing team. Well done, HBK. Lachlan McNamara, he's a star, and he ran amok according to Adam Jeffries yesterday, inside and out. He just couldn't be stopped. Someone needed to go to him, and they didn't, and that man Craig Pitt was a clear best on ground. 4 goals from the midfield. That's a pretty tidy effort. What does this do? Well, it gets Spock back into that horrible conversation they don't want to be in. We're talking about relegation. Whilst PAC, after we thought they might have been gone, find their way back in the 5. Must-win game for them coming up this week. On to our next one. It's round 10. It's finally happened. Port District have won at home. Port 10-11-71, Broadies 9-8-62. A 9-point hard-fought win by Port District. Their best was a man who I haven't seen the best this year, and when he's up and about Port win games of footy, it's number 23, Louis Sharrod. If you had to ask pre-season what round Port would win their first home game, I'm not sure anyone would have said round 10. Really has been a unique statistical anomaly. Some of the goal kickers, Jack Gaff, Hunter Carter and Big Scotty Lysette all kicked 2 for Districts, whilst Johnny the Boris Bozzo continues his really consistent year kicking 3. Looking at some of those commentators' notes, both teams played on 6 points, which I find really interesting. People talk about all the recruits these teams have had. Well, they only played on 6 points yesterday, which is 2 recruits. So that's an interesting one for me to note. It was Port by 16, 16, 6 and 9 after they did lead early by 23 points. So probably a game where they actually took control of early and were able to keep Broadview at arm's length. One of the absolute highlights, though, came from Broadview player. It's time to look at our Jag Meatworks snag of the day. It's O'Leary from Broadview in the second quarter.
Going up, just losing his footing from underneath him. Hole in the ground opened up. Oh, dodging out of 1 and 2. Keeper O'Leary. This would be a Jag Meatworks snag of the day.
And just closing out some of the other notes, look, it was a contested game, lots of stoppages. It was really important for Port because what Port showed us yesterday was they can win unpretty. They can grind it out, and if Port can win those grinding games, there's going to be games where they just do catch fire. The list is too good for it not to happen. So this, for me, is just maybe the awakening of a giant, albeit Broadview absolutely had a red-hot crack. In the votes, for Broadies, it was Cho Anyang with 1, big fella Scotty Lysett with 2 votes. Of course, 2 goals in ruck is a great effort, and Louis Sherrod, that man, BOG. On to our next one. It was business as usual at Webb Oval. Glenunga win 18-13-121, Brighton 13-12-90. It's a unique one here because the best on ground actually came from the team that wasn't victorious, but it was Tommy Wellesby, number 2 for Brighton, 7 goals. Now, while we are just mentioning Tommy, I want you to have a look at this mark he takes where Abe Davis, he can do anything. Now he can be a step ladder. Have a look at this cracker from Tommy Wellesby.
McCarthy is playing a good game, real consistent performer. So McCarthy pumps it in long. Oh, what a mark!
Some great footage there, and look, Abe Davis, well, he is the reigning best player in the league. How's the sportsmanship? Bit of a smile on the face, rub on the head. Sometimes you just got to say, well done, mate. That is absolutely brilliant. So well done to Wellesby. But let's have a look at some of the other goal scorers because it was 11 goal scorers from Glenunga. And maybe that's their strength. They just share it so well. But Linky Bennett, Stevie Prosser and the Snips, Sammy Parsons, who was our centre-half back team in the half year, they all kicked 3. Again, versatility, teamwork, it's all there on show when you watch the Rams. Again, Glenunga, they got it done by 26-32, 29-31. They controlled the game all day. Now, Nathan Grummer didn't coach on the weekend, so, I mean, Abe Davis really did do it all. He coached on the weekend, he captained, he was a stepladder. There's plenty of strings to that man's bow, and Mike Wunke just acted as the bench coach. Of course, plenty of football pedigree and experience right there. Let's get on to the votes now. Zachy Smith continues a really solid year in defence for Glenunga. I know he's Adam Jeffrey's favourite defender in the league. Jordan West, the ruckman for Glenunga, is in a neck-and-neck battle with Penny and Scotty Lysett for end-of-year honours for Team of the Year. He just keeps fronting up, winning the tap work and providing a big target. And, of course, Tommy Wellesby, as discussed, best on ground. Really good 31-point win to Glenunga, but no shame in the performance from Brighton. A really good effort there indeed. Our next game had huge ramifications for both ends of the table, finals and relegation. At Harpersfield, it was Golden Grove 13-13-91, PNU 15-8-98. That man, Matty Nunn, caught fire. Number 7 for Paynham, he had a ton of the ball, kicked 3 goals, and in Matty Gale's notes, he quite simply was the difference. Let's look at some of those goal scorers, and for Golden Grove, it was Templeton, Bamwell and Cavallaro, all kicking 3. Whilst new recruit for Paynham, Brandon Jackson Martin, has had an immediate impact, kicking 4 goals. He was a North junior. We mentioned Nunn kicking 3. And Tommy Wagner, he kicked 3, but he actually started in the gut. So again, what we did with Team of the Half here, I talked about, he was in a pocket, but he could certainly go on the midfield and proving his value once again. Well done to Young Tentacles. It was PNU by 7, 12, 17, and closing out the game by 7. Look, there was so many notes on this game. Matty Gale does a great job because it was a really good contest. Just a quick shout out to Wyatt Patterson, who's done his knee. That's horrible. He's been having a good year, and we wish him all the best in his recovery. Now, we know Matty Gale's got a man crush on Josh Glenn, so it's no surprise to see Josh Glenn, the winner of the Jag Meatworks snag of the day.
Goes in the direction of Banwell. Can it sit up for him? Templeton can't get it. Josh Glenn, beautiful kick. Is that the goal of the day? Major snags! Joshua Glenn, 1 kilo of snags. What a wonderful goal.
And of course, Joshy having 19 touches and 2 goals. A really nice game there for the man he calls as the Div 1 Dusty. Cavallaro, also a strong game with 18 and 3, whilst the PNU, Dobson led the way with 7 marks, and Nick Kelly, 40 hitouts. A really good game in ruck. Statistically, and we've got stats on this one, again, it does tell a bit of a tale. It's a close game. Disposals, 8 to the good for PNU, 283, 291. Marks, 9 to the good for PNU. Tackles, 77 to Golden Grove, 63 to PNU. So Golden Grove gave everything. They applied themselves. They really did. Inside 50s, 52, 49. Nothing to see there. Here's where it sits. Scoring shots, 26 to Golden Grove, PNU 23. 13-13 to 15-8. At the end of the day, it's just that goal kicking efficiency that's been the difference in 2 very good teams, and now has PNU sitting quite handsomely in the 5. Let's look at our votes now. That man, Louis Johnson, was superb. A 4-quarter effort and 28 touches. A beautiful game of football. Brad McKenzie, our halfback flanker from Team of the Half Year, well, he had 31 touches. How many of them are kicks, you ask? 30. 30 kicks, 1 handball. No one wants to injure their hand handballing. Brad McKenzie certainly won't. And last but not least, Matty Nunn. Now, in my good friend, they call him the Mad Russian in his premiership year, Matty Go. He said, Matty Nunn had 50 touches. Look, he had 32, Matty, but I could see you on the farmer's leap and you got excited. 32 and 3, 10 clearances, 7 inside 50s. That's a man that thoroughly deserves best on ground. Well done, Matty Nunn. Our last game of the year, this one was covered by the great man Jad Ghosn, and it was Tea Tree Gully 5-14-44. You shouldn't be kicking 5-14 at your home ground at Pertaringa. Sacred Heart 15-12-102. Far too good. And the man we're going to look at is the big fella from Shock, Bradley Noble, number 16. Whilst for Shocker, it was Foxer and McAuliffe kicking 3, and at Tea Tree Gully, it was Latham, continuing a consistent year, kicking 2 goals. It was the second quarter, Jad Ghosn said, 6 goals, 6 to 1 point. It was the difference in the game. Whilst it was 58 points in the end, that was the quarter that did all the damage. Again, I love this stat, just checking through on the Play HQ stats. These teams played on 0 points and 2 points. Just goes to show you, when you invest in your youth and you build your club from within, sustainable success and Division 1 success is right there. It does take time. It sometimes can take a bit of pain. But I want to just shout out to both Tea Tree Gully and Shock. Obviously, it's slightly different because they've got the college kids, but really well done. It's not all about recruits. It's about getting good people and keeping them at the club. I'm going to mention Tyler West. He's our Team of the Year full forward. He's taken all before him. He's having the year of his life. But yesterday, he didn't have a day that he's going to probably hang up in the pool room. It was 1 goal for and out in the full, and probably could have kicked 5 goals, but it just wasn't to be. Last year, it was Tea Tree Gully who eliminated Shock. Well, just like PNU have done to Golden Grove, getting revenge twice, Shock have done the same thing and beaten Tea Tree Gully twice this year, just extracting revenge on giving them the straight exit. Our votes, Henry McAuliffe, 1 vote, Jackson Fox, 2 votes, and 3 votes to Brody Noble. How's our games for this week? And now all of a sudden, the player of the year has just got hot. Plenty of great names there, but the 3 on top are Abe Davis on 13, Matty Nunn nipping at his heels on 12 votes. I think that might be 4 best on grounds, and Joey Haynes on 10 votes, all within striking distance of first place. The ladder, well, it always makes interesting reading in Division 1. Glenunga 10-0. I guess someone now eventually is going to ask the question, which I haven't seen in Div 1. Could they go without losing a game? I wouldn't think so. It's too even a comp, but you'd have to entertain the idea that it might just be possible. Sacred Heart 8-2, look like the second best team in the comp. Port a little inconsistent, but do sit half a game clear in 3rd. PNU, percentage is a bit of a worry in 4th. PAC, as above, sit 4th, but I would be very happy with being back in the 5. Tea Tree Gully have dropped out the 5 on 4 and 6. Broadies 4 and 6. Golden Grove missed opportunity this week 3 and 7. Spock 3 and 7. Brighton 2.5 wins. All relegation and final spots still up for grabs in an exciting competition. So we have a look this week at this week's games, and again they're all so important. Brighton and PAC. Now Jad Ghosn, our Div 6 expert, is commentating this one, and he's taken Brighton. I think PAC have to win to stay in the 5, and they will. It's PNU versus Shock. PNU, if they want to play finals, you've got to take one of the big 3 scalps. Can they take the Sacred Heart scalp? I don't think so. Broadies and Glenunga, as above, Broadies have to take a big scalp. Can they take Glenunga at home? No, I can't tip against Glenunga. Spock versus Golden Grove. Spock had a down week after a really solid month. Well, the loser can look at some relegation time. The winner will entertain finals. I'm going to give Golden Grove another chance. And Port versus Tea Tree Gully at Port Districts. Port have finally won at home. I think they'll win back-to-back games at home. This has been TJ with the Division 1 wrap. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.
Get a quick and easy low-rate car loan from Police Credit Union today.
Women's footy. I'm Bec Northcott and I'm here to talk to you about all things that happen across the Division 1 of the women's competition on the weekend. It's round 10, let's see how it all went down. Now, after a bye last week and a couple of rough losses, well, Broadview were back with a bang with an 111-point win over Smosh. Broadview 16-15 defeated Smosh, who unfortunately didn't score, but they had a nice win down there at Broadview Oval. Now, it was an absolute day out for the Tigers. They kicked 4 goals to in the first quarter, and they did not back down with consistent scoring across the game, and they finished in the last quarter with 5 goals 3. Now, their accuracy, well, they just kept the goals above the point, so I have to give them a tick for that. Now let's have a look at their goal kickers because we could be here for a while. We'll start off with Remy Grant. Well, she kicked 5. That's a real day out for Remy. Keep it going. She's been kicking a few bags of goals over the season. Liana Antonelli, she kicked 3, as well as 2 goals each to Ashley George and Chloe Smith. There are also singles to Tamika Cox, Kelly's Jackson Martin, Zara Malloy and Lucy Mussolino. So 8 different goal kickers for Broadview, but their best on ground was Amy Jones. I think this would have been a real confidence booster for Broadview. It has actually moved them up to 4th on the ladder with that win, and their percentage has been given a nice boost as well because there are definitely teams chasing underneath them for that 4th spot. Unfortunately for Smosh, as I said, no goals for them, but their best player was Elia Osborne, and that was also backed up by some good performances from Bridie Dolan and Tegan Usher. Now, they're having a bit of a rough year for Smosh, which is not ideal. I've talked about it over the last few weeks, but I just hope to see them keep fighting through the rest of the season. Now, in the reserves game that matched up with that, Broadview continued their undefeated run with a 61-1 point win over Smosh. So overall, a good afternoon at Broadview. Can they keep up their momentum with this win, get a few more on the board? Though looking ahead, they do have Payneham next weekend, so that is going to be a tough ask. In the second game across Division 1, Henley, top of the table, well, they faced a bit of a challenge from a spirited Golden Grove at Shark Park. Final scores, Henley 5-7-37 defeated Golden Grove 4-8-32. So just a 5-point win under a goal in it. Now, I don't want to talk about the kicking again. We talk about it every week, but both teams here have had 12 scoring shots and Henley have come up on top by just being that little bit more accurate. If anything, both teams could have kicked more goals, of course. I mean, Henley, 5 goals, 7. They could have just put it straight beyond doubt, not kept Golden Grove in it, but it could have gone either way, and it shows that the game was quite even. Now, looking by quarter, Golden Grove actually led at quarter time with 1 goal 4, and there's that goal kicking again. Golden Grove also led at half time by 8 points, and then Henley came back into it to be leading at quarter time, and then obviously at the main break. Let's have a look at the goal scorers. For Henley, Georgie Blades with 2, singles to Demi Bates, Tegan Dunbar and Tamsin Fegert. Their best on was Rose Clancy Dillon. For Golden Grove, their goals came from 2 to Eileen Habner and singles to Emma Baker and Ashley Thomas. Their best on was Tiana Hatchard. Now, Henley, well, they probably could have just kicked some more goals, but they got the win. They're still on top of the ladder, and it's going to be really tight up there with Payneham at the end of the season. But they've just got to keep winning, and that's what matters. Golden Grove, they didn't get the win, but they've put up an absolute challenge to the ladder leaders here in Henley. Last week I talked about how they're learning, they're finding their feet in Division 1. And, they improved on the last time they met the Henley Sharks, where they lost by 20 points. And in the reserves, Golden Grove did have a solid win by 24 points, and it was led by a great performance from Thames and Murdoch. Now, the last match of the round in Division 1 took me by surprise, because Morphettville came out strong with a 10-point win over Goodwood Saints at Goodwood as well. And Goodwood led at every change, but Morphies came home strong. They kicked 2 goals, 1 in the final term, and held the Saints to 1 point. Final scores, Morphettville Park 5-4-34 to Goodwood Saints 3-6-24. This was Morphettville Park's first win since round 5 and their 3rd win of the season. Their goals came from Tash Christophers, Sophie Hoyle, Elizabeth Probyn Shingles, Caitlin Swanson and Macy Young. Their best was Brooke Trevina, a real solid performer always down there at Morphettville Park. And the goals for Goodwood came from Emma White with 2 and Briella Egberts with 1. Their best on was Asher Lodge. Now, Goodwood have been a bit up and down this season. They won their first 3, came out absolutely firing in Division 1, dropped a couple, then came out and beat Payneham a few weeks ago, and now have this loss. So they're still firmly in 3rd spot on the ladder, but probably need to find some consistency in their game. Clearly their best can match it with the top teams in this competition. Morphettville Park, well, I'm impressed that they played out the match, came home with that strong last quarter and got the win. They have, had a bit of a struggle with their season. It took them a while to get their first win, but the race for 4th spot really is wide open in Division 1. So if they can get a few more wins on the board, work on their percentage, maybe they could sneak in there. And we have seen what happens when Morphettville Park managed to sneak into the top 4. Magical things happen and they just win flags. Now, as well for Goodwood, they had a massive 148-point win in the reserves with a huge feat of 10 goals from Elena Seagate. So well done to Goodwood there in the Division 1 reserves. Next week, we've got a game that I'm looking forward to with Golden Grove and Goodwood. This is absolutely going to be one to watch. Both teams coming off of games where they lost that really they could have, should have won. Then we have Morphettville Park taking on Smosh. Morphettville Park looking for 2 wins in a row. I think they'll probably get that one done. And then Payneham taking on Broadview. Now, as I said, Payneham will be coming off the bye. They'll probably get this one done, but you never know, maybe Broadview could throw something at them that they haven't seen before. Now, having a quick look around the divs, Division 2, well, I've got to take you to the Battle of the Valleys, Happy Valley and Hope Valley. Honestly, I hope they've got a trophy set up for this, because I think they could do something really cool with that. Well, Happy Valley won at this time 66-18, making it 1-1 for the season, as Hope Valley won in round 3. Maybe we could see the Battle of the Valleys come for the grand final for Division 2. Now, I'm always keeping an eye on this big shootout in Division 5. Well, Natalie Lohman, she's at it again. Shockingly, she's kicked another bag of goals. She's kicked 4 this week. She's got 35 for the season. The Raggies are 10 and zip. It's all happening in Division 5. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the Division 1 Women's Wrap. Keep getting out and watching your women's footy. But if you don't get there, you can always come here and watch the Division 1 Women's Wrap with me.
Now it's time for our Farmers Elite Coach of the Week. Of course, it's selected this week. It's Division 1, selected by the man from Farmers Elite, Adam Jeffrey, and he has chosen from the Prince Alfred Football Club, Craig Pitt. Craig has done a great job. A lot of people predict a little bit of doom and gloom for PAC, but they now find themselves back inside the 5 on the back of a best off-field display from playing coach Craig Pitt. He kicked 4 goals on the weekend. He's managed to galvanise his unit and got them playing some very good football again, much like they did a few years ago. Despite losing 10 or 11 players from their grand final team, he finds a way to reinvent and develop, and he is indeed a worthy recipient of the Farmers Leap Coach of the Week. And welcome back to Between the Posts. It is Division 6 time, and the man with the goss is Jad Ghosn. Second time this year, mate. Pressure's on.
Yes. Last time we did the Div 6 wrap was after round 5. Now it's after round 10, so definitely a lot more sample size what to go off. We'll start with the ladder. So after 10 rounds of footy, just past halfway mark of the season, Salisbury sitting on top, 10-0 record, still haven't lost. Good effort by them. Eastern Park in second, Ingle Farm third, Fitzroy fourth, St Paul's fifth, Rosewater as well, sixth, Houghton Districts in seventh, Central United eighth, and the bottom two, Adelaide Lutheran and Elizabeth on the bottom. But 3 big games in round 10, so just going to go through and look at them quickly. So first one, Central United versus Adelaide Lutheran played in round 10, with Central United coming out on top, moving out of the bottom 2 with a win versus Adelaide Lutheran by 6 points. Some big goal kickers in that match. Jack Hansen for Central United kicking 6 goals. Rowan Meagle for Adelaide Lutheran scoring 4 goals. Overall, Central United now move up and equal Houghton District on 3-7 record. So definitely moving out to the bottom 2. But for Adelaide Lutheran, they just need to get some wins. They've had a few games coming up they can maybe win, so just trying to get out those.
Yeah, they've probably, look, I'm going to say, I think they've underachieved this year, Adelaide Lutheran, but Central United under a new coach, Norm, there. They've taken a bit of time, some good kids, Hudson Clues. I think they'll continue to improve and maybe might avoid a relegation. Central United.
Good for them to move out that relegation spot now. They can build on that. Another key game in round 10 was Fitzroy versus Ingle Farm. The away team, Ingle Farm, beat Fitzroy by 12 points, making them switch spots and move into third spot on the ladder. So them two switching, Fitzroy moved down to fourth. So last time we spoke, after round 5, Ingle Farm were 3-2. With a record of 3-2. Now they're 7-3, so in a good run of form. They had a lot of hard games early. They've got them out the way. As for Fitzroy, 4-1 last time we spoke. This time they're 6-4, so a bit of a tougher draw. We spoke about that last time as well.
Yeah, you did. We did allude to it. I don't want to say pretend top 4 like they say in the AFL, but we talked about maybe ladder position defy where they were, and think perhaps Ingle Farm with the come from behind win have shown they rightfully are in the top 3. So it's actually really good reporting there, Jed.
Yeah, and another key game in round 10 saw St Paul's versus Rosewater. Another upset, another big result. Rosewater winning by 17 points, equaling the record of St Paul's on 5-5. Shout out Riley Hendricks, 10 out of 10 rounds. He's been in the best, so very consistently their best players.
23-year-old, former North Adelaide junior, has been in the best players every time. He's either paying the coach or having an unbelievable season, and watch out for him on medal night.
Yeah, big consistency from him, and this result, sees them equal on 5-5. Also, just one spot off 4th place Fitzroy, so definitely a key battle there for those final spots in the top 5. Yeah,
I reckon a missed opportunity there for St Paul's, going down by 17 points. Would have been able to actually set, and I think I might have even mentioned it on what caught my eye, so I probably got it wrong. I thought the top 5 might be set, but Rosewater just said, might only be on 44%, but so the percentage is going to hurt them, but if they can get enough wins, they might go past St Paul's.
Yeah, that's it. Now looking at some of the other teams we didn't mention, Eastern Park 9-1, only having lost one time to Salisbury by 14 points in round 8. That game 68-54. They have a 4-point lead on 3rd place in terms of the ladder, so they look set to finish top 2 if they continue on this trajectory. Also, good to note, they have the most points scored and the second least points conceded. So when you're in the top 2 for those stats, it always goes a long way.
And look, if Eastern Park get home finals, I've been around footy since Adam was a boy, and there's not a tougher place, I don't think, than Eastern Park. Based on so many factors, it is a unique place and a huge home ground advantage.
Yeah, The next team is Elizabeth. Obviously, despite still being bottom, no wins, they're in a better position than last time we spoke. They're able to fill a team more consistently now. They have a B team, which actually got a victory, which was a very good effort. And you kind of alluded it to at the start, the most watched league in the division. They had that big Div 12 Resi's game. Of course, a lot of people down there, thousands, ex-AFL players, all these legends of SNFL and AFL playing. Yeah.
And about an 18-goal improvement, because we're back to round one, it was 55 goals, 17 maybe to one goal. This time, I don't know what the exact score was, but it looked a lot tidier. Might have been a 15 to 18 goal improvement, which is, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, exactly. And last time you asked me if you think they could win a game in 2024.
I reckon you've got the answer now, haven't you?
I think they can. I think why not? Because they came within 11 points of Central United. We've seen Central United have some good form, and to get 11 points with them, they're going to need a bit of luck, and
they'll need to kick straight.
Everything goes well.
Stranger things have happened. I can't think of them offhand, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, so. In round 6, only losing by 11 points to Central United, so why not? If everything goes to plan, it'll be a big day if they do.
But again, hat goes off to Brenda and all the people out at Elizabeth. They've stuck that, and they're making sure the club is doing the right thing. And to all the people that came back, well done as well. So.
Yeah, for sure. Houghton Districts, they're a bit of in the limbo, probably not bad enough to get relegated, but maybe not good enough for finals. But they've had a bit of a tough draw, so some games coming up they can win. They've scored 955 points, which is the best from the bottom 5 teams. But overall, they've conceded 1,073, makes them third worst in the division. So if they can fix up their defence, get a few more victories on board, they can try and push for those final spots for finals, but especially avoid relegation. That might be a big thing if they can just improve their defence.
Yeah, the step from 7 to 6 is a reasonable step, even though it's one of the lower divisions. And losing guys like Andy Reid and a couple of other players, it really does make it hard to have a full-on assault at Division 6. And that it's been a recurring theme for them over the last decade, to be honest with you.
Yeah, for sure. Last but definitely not least, Salisbury. They're sitting on top of the ladder, still undefeated. They have the best defence, conceding 460 points only. Talked about the round 8 game earlier against Eastern Park. They won that one by 11 points, handing them their first loss. Also, their coach, Brett Joseph, winning the Farmers Leap Coach of the Week 2 weeks
Beautifully judged by you. And if I can just jump in on Salisbury, if I may, I love the fact, and you're probably going to do goal kickers, they have a good spread of goal kickers, but here's a great Salisbury story, and it's a personal one for me. Trying to get a young fella cleared on Friday night, and Kelly Dubois from Salisbury paid for the clearance so this young guy could be cleared from her club so he could start playing footy again. And I talk about on-field and off-field, it's just equally as important. And that's the kind of great people you got at Salisbury. That's probably why they're 10-0, doing all the little things well. I mean, earlier this year I talked about Eastern Park being at Anzac Day. It's a conglomeration, almost come together, all the working parts. And hats off to you, Salisbury, for what well done. You got a kid back on the footy field, even if it wasn't for your club. And that's awesome, I reckon.
Yeah, you always see successful clubs, not just any level from AFL to local league. When they're good off field and on field, that's the.
And they send them to the league clubs, the Centrals, the North, the Eagles, and they make sure. Graham Maxwell used to call it de-recruiting. They make sure they develop their kids and they give them every opportunity. Some great kids that have come out of Salisbury. So
yeah, for sure. Top goal kickers in Div 6 is probably one of the most interesting ones in all of the Adelaide Footy League. A lot of high scoring players. There's different reasons for that, but it still makes it interesting for us to look at. Yep. Sean Mansell, 76 goals. Chris Knapp as well, 71 goals. Both of them from Eastern Park. Yep. Joshua Rosenthal from Fitzroy, 67 goals, and James Ellis from Fitzroy, 56 goals.
Yeah, just the 26 between them on the weekend, Mansell and Knapp, 16 and 10 respectively. And I don't know, Joe, I'm a lot older than you. I don't ever recall 2 players from one team scoring 100 goals in the same year, but you'd say with 8 games to go and 2 finals at a minimum, 10 games, it's going to happen for these 2 gentlemen.
Yeah, it might be an interesting stat, that one, for sure. Some upcoming key fixtures, a lot of big games coming up. In round 12, we got Salisbury versus Ingle Farm and Fitzroy versus St. Paul's. Round 13, Ingle Farm versus Eastern Park. And round 15, Central United versus Elizabeth. That could be Elizabeth's first win, maybe not. But it's going to be very interesting to keep
You heard it here first if it is, that's for sure.
That's it. So yeah, we'll have one more update before finals, and that one will be key to preview the finals and what's going to happen in the division. But that was the Div 6 wrap for us.
Oh no, yet it wasn't, mate.
Oh yes.
I might ask you this one after round 5. It's a tough question.
Yes, sir.
Salisbury and Eastern Park grand final.
Yeah, looking.
I think so. I say that, and I love Ingle Farm. I love what they've done coming up from Div 6, but I just think. Salisbury obviously get the week off. They only have to win 1 final. And Eastern Park finishing second probably get 2 home finals or if they need them. So yeah, for me, they almost certainly both make their way through. It'd take a fantastic effort from whether it be Ingle Farm, Fitzroy, St Paul's or Rosewater to unseat those two teams.
Yeah, for sure. Those two are favourites at the moment.
Jad, beautifully done, mate. We love the work you do both in commentary and in Division 6. Thanks for that wonderful wrap. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Between the Posts.
You belong in blue. Apply for a career with South Australia Police.
Welcome back to Between the Posts. It's time for all you high flyers and you sharpshooters. It's time for goals and marks of the week.
Performer. So, Carthy pumps it in long. What a mark!
Around the bodies, McDermott. Can they get a mark? Big fly. Big mark. Huge specky over the top.
It's that time again when we look around the leagues. At what court? Our right. Ooh, in the right. We had to rehearse that. Okay, I'll start, mate. Division 1. We have some fun here. You've got to. Division 1, obviously my div that I look after. And who would have thunked it? They sit third, but Port District, it's taken around 10, have had their first win at home. You could have cut off my legs and called me shorty if you had told me it was going to be round 10 before they had their first home win. Unthinkable, yet they're still third.
Yeah, that's a good one. For me, I was at the Teacher Gully game, so maybe that's why it caught my eye. But they had 3 players in the top 5 for goals scored, and then they kicked 5-14 at home versus Sacred Heart. So not the best day in front of goals for them.
Yes, Tyler West probably having a forgetful one. Nicely done there, Jad. You can lead us off for Division 2, mate.
Yeah, for Div 2, I had a Foss Camden from 9th place at the time, beating 4th place Modbury Hawks at the Hawks home, as well as Ross Trevor beating Salisbury North, and by that much.
Yep, beautifully done. I actually missed the Foss Camden win. That's great. I actually had the same thing. Ross Trevor by 52 points over the premiership favourite. It was a 10-goal-1 first half for Ross Trevor. So they've announced themselves. Don't forget about the Rockers. All right, I'll lead off Division 3, and it was a little bit of business as usual, but a bit of a theme about what caught my eyes is the tops and bottoms of the ladders. And Henley with a 68-point win over the Kings, Lockleys with a 47-point win over Unley McKeedy's, and North Haven with a 9-point win over Hope Valley. It just has reinforced to me that I think we know what we know, and it's Henley versus Lockley or North Haven in the grand final this year.
Yeah, that's a good one. For me, I had just looking at the goals scored and goals conceded again. Henley, 148 less points conceded, 161 more points scored than any other team. So definitely just showing how dominant they are at the moment in Div 3.
And undefeated, so it speaks for itself. All right, I've got one, mate, that excites me. I've been waiting a bloody year for it. The Cats, they're back. Walkerville have had a 33-point win over third place Kenilworth. Now, Walkerville, I mentioned it last week in the relegation zone. I don't think they've ever been in Division 5, certainly not as long as I've been alive. So to have that win and move them all the way up to 7th just gives them hope of maybe staying in Division 4. And I was out at Walkerville last Sunday and still so many great people there. So many of the guys from the 90s there, Jimmy Williams, Mark Paholski. I know Gary Cup was coaching the 18. So some great people there. I was so surprised to see them struggling this year. Hopefully the boys can get it together and keep their march going on.
Awesome, yeah, that follows what I got perfectly, because I got, even after Walkerville beating Kenilworth, the 7th, which was 7th beating 6th, the gap between them is still 6 points, so 3 wins between 7th and 6th place, so it's almost this top 6 is set, and then the bottom 3 are fighting for the rest.
Yeah, and that's what they've got to fight. They've got to fight. You go first in Division 5, mate?
Yeah, Division 5, I saw Greenacres and Marion both teams I covered last year as the Div 6 specialists last year as well. They started off the season well after 10 rounds, sitting 3rd and 4th on the ladder. So, yeah, good to see the teams that got promoted from my division doing well.
I think you take that at the start of the year. I'm going to talk about relegation this one. And unfortunately for these two teams, after 10 rounds, relegation is set. It's the Blacks from Blackfriars, St Dom's Oval there, with just the one win, that win being over West Croydon. Again, it's going to be probably a tough 8 rounds for these two teams. Keep battling, keep fronting up. I've never had a bad experience with West Croydon Hawks or Blackfriars Blacks. There's good people there. Just keep at it, boys, and hopefully West Croydon get a win this year. Hopefully Blacks can get another one as well. 6 I'll take because you're the expert, mate. Quite simply, following on from the round 1 that caught all the media attention. Eastern Park, it was 243 to Elizabeth 1, Mansell 16, Nap 10, 76 and 71 respectively. They will both get a ton this year. But a little bit of footage has been sent in, which really caught my eye, which I love. This was sent in by, I think it's Matt Bedgood. Yes, it is Bedgie, of course. And he sent it in of another team, which is fantastic. We're going to have a look at number 10 from Fitzroy, Jason Dicker, doing his thing against Ingle Farm. And thanks for that, Bedgie. Great to see. Of course, you can always send stuff into me or to Hugo. We love to share the clips from all the divisions. It does certainly catch our eye. And Div 6 expert, what was it that caught your eye?
Yeah, I touched on it in my wrap a little bit, but 2 upsets, Rosewater and beating St Paul, Central United beating Adelaide Lutheran, shaking up the ladder. We thought it was kind of set last week, but now it's all shaken up, and a lot of still to play for in Div 6.
A little bit of Elvis about it. It's all shook up. All right. And Div 7, Jad, interesting one for me. Top 4 set. Now, we've talked about Para Hills and OSB all year. Weetra 86 goals for Para Hills. Michael Dean coached the Luke last week, OSB. But Hackham, led by Blake Derrett, just sitting in 3rd and maybe being a touch underestimated. And the last one is interesting enough. Flinders Uni, they sit a game and a half clear with a game in hand, so they're going to play.
Didn't you once kick 12 in a half versus Flinders Uni once?
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Jad. I'm not sure what relevance it has here, but I did kick 12 and a half once against Flinders Uni. But it's a new Flinders Uni now, and they're in the 4. And I just think Hackham and Flinders Uni might be a little bit better than people have given them credit for. What's your Div 7 stat, mate?
Yeah, for Div 7, the points gap between top 2 and the rest. So 6-point gap, 18 to 12. Para Hills conceding 376 points in 10 rounds of football, average of 36.6 points per game.
Yeah.
So very good defence there.
Yeah, again, it is a beautiful defence and they look all the goods. But, you know, when it comes finals, you've only got to slip up once and your season is over. So I wouldn't be locking everything in Div 7. Strange things can happen. That's been what caught our eye. It's been a pleasure, mate. We'll be back with more around the divisions next week. welcome back, and it is time to bid farewell once again. We do not exist without all our great sponsors, and yes, we appreciate their support for all the divisions and all the segments. Of course, this segment is brought to us by SAPOL, our good friends, South Australian Police Department. Of course, if you'd like to become a police academy cadet, the opportunity is to check that out on our website. Now, Jad, you are going to be out and about. Where are you going to be this week?
Yeah, I'm Brighton versus Prince Alfred this week. So yeah.
At Brighton?
Yeah, at Brighton.
It's a big one, isn't it? Because Brighton need to win to avoid relegation, and we'll find out. RPAC, the real deal. Who's your tip, mate?
Yeah, I'll go Brighton at home. They've had a few good games in a row, good form, but we'll see what happens.
I think Brighton need to win this to avoid relegation. I think PAC need to win this to be a chance to make the 5. Couldn't get much more on the line than that. Have you had fun today, mate?
Yeah, lots of fun, lots of cool segments, and a lot of good chat about footy, so who doesn't like that?
I think next time we see you will be around 17 when we'll really be sinking our teeth into what's going to happen in Division 6 and just find out if we are right about Salisbury and Eastern Park being, well, the teams we think are untouchable. Thanks very much for being on the show, mate, and thanks to all our great viewers and all the great people who support the league. You've been watching Between the Posts.